Mina, should the Giants continue to be developing Jones the way they are, or is it time now to show up tonight against Washington?
It is time. It's an unfortunate situation because of how good Washington's defense is, but it is year 3 with Daniel Jones. It's no longer time to let him grow. He's not a baby. He's a fully grown adult man, and he is one who is frustrating to watch, Tony. You know, watching back last week, he puts together good drives where he's accurate and he makes plays and he's explosive, and then they end in these head-scratching turnovers, often in, high-leverage situations, and it's a script we've seen play out over and over and over, and it needs to end, frankly, if he's the long-term future of this franchise. But as far as tonight goes, unfortunately, as I mentioned, he's not only under figurative pressure, he will be under literal pressure as well, because the Washington front is extremely good and the Giants' offensive line is extremely bad. I expect them to go run-heavy, but if Daniel Jones doesn't stop turning the ball over, they need to call it on him.
Israel Gutierrez will bring you in here on how the Giants should be viewing Daniel Jones right now.
One of the things that I see that you can fix is the fumbles. Like, I don't know if you can fix interceptions, making bad decisions, but I do think for a quarterback, you can sort of fix the fumbles, and that's where last week's turnover was. It's where a lot of his issues were. But I'm not huge on Daniel Jones, but before I can sort of bring the house on him, you just have to look at the offense, too. Like, I just sat here and watched Dan Orlovsky earlier today absolutely torch the Giants offense, saying it's the most archaic thing in football right now. Said that, a former Cowboys coach, you might recognize him, Jason Garrett, running the offense, is stuck in 2005. And so it limits what Daniel Jones can do. Do I think in a wide open offense, in a different, more sort of today's offense, can he be more of today's quarterback? Possibly, because he can move. Not necessarily the quickest guy, but, straight line speed, obviously pretty fast. So I'm not ready to say that he can't be a starting quarterback for any team in the league, but I am ready to say that with this particular group of coaches, I think this is about as good as you're going to see him. So either as the Giants, you got to go this year saying it's either going to be these offensive coaches I stick with, or I'm going to give Daniel Jones one more year.
It's week 2. The offensive line is a little bit of a mystery for this team. Saquon Barkley, maybe that can help Daniel Jones a little bit, welcoming him back. Kevin Blackistone, how should the Giants be viewing Jones right now?
Well, I think he should be getting a little bit of a mulligan, because those next-gen stats that Mina always likes to mention show that he's 41% hurried when he drops back, the most hurried quarterback in the league. Maybe that has something to do with why he gets fumbled, gets hit so many times, gives up the ball, maybe throws some interceptions, also doesn't have many weapons out there. And talk about last year, right? Last year he didn't have Saquon Barkley for almost all the season, so now he has no one to hand off to, and he's behind a bad offensive line. Does he have to play better? Absolutely. When he was healthy, and when Saquon Barkley was there, they came into FedEx and lit the place up. Saquon ran for almost 200 yards. He threw for like 5 touchdowns. He looked like the future of that team. But right now, he is in himself a reflection of how bad that offense is for the New York Giants.
But you're willing to give him time. Mina, I see you shaking your head at a couple of things that Kevin was saying. We'll get to you in a second. June, please.
Well, it seems like we're really reaching a boiling pot moment with the Giants fan base, too, and whether or not they want to support Daniel Jones. I mean, there's been a lot of conversation out of Giants camp about Daniel Jones saying all the right things, carrying himself the right way, teammates loving him. But at a certain point, you have to perform on the field. There was a lot of this talk around Mitchell Trubisky when he was in Chicago about how all of his teammates loved it and how people really respected him. But when he wasn't performing, there's only so much you can do there. And so I think we're starting to get to a point with Daniel Jones where it's time to perform, or else, it doesn't matter all of that other stuff about people liking you in the locker room.
Mina, back in.
Yeah, I just want to address the fumbling issue. Look, he is very pressured. And like I said, the offensive line deserves a lot of the blame. But go back and watch him in Denver when he fumbled the football. He scrambles, and he's holding the thing. Like, I don't know how he fumbled it, frankly, but the ball seems allergic to Daniel Jones's hands. And at a certain point, when you have this many fumbles, which, by the way, it's a historic number for his first 3 seasons, it's on the quarterback, not the offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, Israel, you said you can teach somebody not to fumble. But then why haven't they? I mean, maybe let's get on that for a second. Carry the ball around to everywhere you go, including the shower. All right, it's a must-perform performance, is what June Lee says. Does he perform tonight, Mina? Who you got?
I got Washington just because I think the front seven is so good, and I think he's going to be under duress. Daniel Jones.
Same. I think they're going to destroy that Giants offensive line. I got Washington.
Well, Washington's elite defense didn't look so good last week. They gave up over 400 yards.
You're right, they didn't look good, but you're wrong for using that word.
Well, but I used it for a reason because that's what the broadcasters called them at the beginning of the game. An elite defense that they hadn't even seen play this year.
All right, maybe we'll get a pick from you in a second. And how about you, Julie?
I've got Washington. I think Daniel Jones is going to be running away from Chase Young all night.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.